How you guys doing? I have a 93.6% success rate for my trades this month. So 38 out of 41. All right. Today we went 6 for 6. So if you add 6 to 38, that is 44. So 44 divided by 47 is 93%. So this month has been going pretty well, thankfully. So what we do here is I go over my trades. I describe why I'm entering. I describe where I'm exiting. I give my thought process and reasoning as everything is going on in the market as well. So if you want access to my exact buy and sell points every time I'm entering and exiting anything, you can gain access to that in this Discord server. So if that's something you're interested in, click the link down below. But aside from that, in today's video, we are going to talk about the overall market, which direction the market is going to go. We're going to talk about the large tech stocks, the SP500, the dollar, the VIX, the bonds, all that good stuff. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. First and foremost, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the large tech stocks because these are going to give a good gauge of where the overall market is going to be headed. So starting off with Apple. Apple is clearly looking bullish. It was one of the losers. A lot of money funneled into Apple, and now it is starting to outperform a lot of these other tech stocks. So it's doing really well. Microsoft bouncing off of the lows. It was one of the losers, not getting as much love. But we're holding a low here, and it doesn't look completely bearish. Google, same concept, not really much to talk about over there. Amazon, same exact concept. We've been chopping around in this area on Amazon for the past week and a half of me making these videos. Tesla, similar concept. It's just been chopping around here at these lows. Not much to look at there. But now Netflix is doing pretty well. So after the earnings date on Netflix, it's just continuing to do well. You can see the strength in Netflix. Not much to look at. Otherwise, we can take a look at the chips now. Nvidia looks strong. So Nvidia looks strong. Cool. Obviously, Nvidia is going to get a lot of buyers. It's the chips and AI related companies are the main reason why we are getting a strong move in the NASDAQ, obviously. But what's interesting is AMD. So now AMD is, so regardless of how strong Nvidia was today, AMD is not that strong. And what this is sort of telling me is, number one, obviously from a bullish standpoint, right? An unbiased standpoint, money is flowing into Nvidia. If Nvidia continues to do well, then eventually AMD will eventually break above these levels of resistance, and it could start doing well also. But Nvidia would really, really, really need to continue to rise before the strength in Nvidia starts to permeate in AMD. I'm not too sure if that's going to end up happening. So now, and one of the more concerning aspects of this so far is that Apple and Nvidia are starting to get overextended to the upside. Of course, Netflix as well, but Netflix had earnings, so it's not the same. But regardless, what we see so far is that these large tech stocks are at levels of support, starting to bounce off of the lows, or they are at highs. So, now pragmatically, heading into the end of the month tends to be bullish. Great. But what I will say, so the main thing is heading into the end of the month, into the end of October, early November, these large tech stocks are going to report earnings. When the large tech stocks report earnings, generally, right? Say for example, this is Microsoft, and we have earnings on the 10th. Okay, and Microsoft is at the lows. It made lows, generally what ends up happening is into this earnings date, the price of Microsoft tends to do bullish. Now, what I would expect and what I would rather see happen is before earnings run up occurs, I want to see a pullback in these stocks. So I want to see a pullback in these tech stocks that are going to be reporting earnings, so that for the earnings run up, we can scoop them up in a cheaper price. Does that make sense? So to be bullish on Nvidia right now is absolutely idiotic. It's clearly at highs. You don't go long at highs. So Nvidia, Apple, these are not stocks that I would be going long at right now. So especially now that we saw the tech stocks, okay? Now that we looked at the tech stocks, I'm going to be going over my analysis on what I think is going to happen with the SP 500, the NASDAQ, and the Russell. So the first thing that I want to look at is the Russell. So all three of these are very important to monitor because the Russell and the NASDAQ affect the S&P. So the Russell was clearly the biggest loser today. It was one of the main driving forces in this move upwards that we had. And today it just gave back all of its gains. So the Russell does not look great, okay? The NASDAQ, this is just overall, guys, these are just bearish setups. I can't really unfortunately, right? This can break the highs here, but it's once we get to this zone over here at the prior highs, it's just, how are you going to logically continue to be long, right? It could happen. The NASDAQ could end up making new highs, by all means, right? All of the people that are short over here, by the time we get up here, it'll be very, very difficult to be short. So then these people will probably switch. And when these people do switch from being bearish to bullish, that is the best opportunity to be short. So yes, by all means, we could easily magnetize to these highs here on the NASDAQ. And over here would be a great, great bull trap. But yeah, we're gonna have to see how that turns out. But then with the ES as well, similar concept with the S&P. These are just yes, we could easily see another $5 or $10 on the SPY. All right, we could easily see 5960, 6000 on the SPX. By all means, great. But would you want to go long at those levels? That is the question. And my answer is no. So, as long as in general, as long as you're holding on to some puts that have time on them, I think that is still going to be the best situation. That's going to be the best trade to make. And then on Bitcoin, one of the reasons why Bitcoin tumbled today is because Bitcoin is also very heavily influenced by the Russell 2000. A lot of economically sensitive stocks are in the Russell 2000, and based off of how they move, Bitcoin also moves. So that's why we saw a big red candle on Bitcoin today. And you can see the chart on Bitcoin is almost identical to the Russell. Whereas on the NASDAQ, it's not similar to the NASDAQ. It is more similar to the Russell, as you can see here. So that further, you should really look at the Russell 2000 as well to get better confluence on where you think Bitcoin is going to go. Bitcoin is also looking to cross below on the MACD. And when that generally happens, that is bearish for price. And if this is bearish for Bitcoin, then, we could end up retesting 64, 65. And then that is when the market is going to really need to make a decision. But aside from that, guys, it's pragmatically speaking, the large tech stocks do look pretty bullish. And we're going to have to just see if money flows out of Apple, Nvidia, and Netflix and flows into Tesla, Google, Microsoft. And if it's just an upward in and out of money flowing into the losers from the winners. But the problem is, pragmatically speaking, is just going long up here is absolutely the wrong trade to make. And with that being said, one other thing that we could look at is the VIX. So the VIX is still holding above $18.50, $18. So with that being said, you could also see that the MACD indicator is about to cross above on the VIX. So that is generally bullish. If the VIX can hold these lows and start to move upwards, this blue MACD indicator is going to move upwards as well. And if that occurs, then there's going to be a bullish move in the VIX. And the VIX is important to monitor because it has an inverse relationship to the market. If the VIX is doing well, then the overall market should be falling. And right now, the VIX is trying to hold this 1850 area. And if it does, and it starts to cross above as well with this MACD indicator, then the market should tumble. And let's see if we get a pullback prior to earnings run-up season, and if that would be a good opportunity to go long or what. All right, so with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Once again, if you guys want access to my Discord server, the link to join is down below. Hope you guys had a wonderful start to the week. We did. And I will see you guys tomorrow. All right. Love you guys. Have a good one. Take care.